Boruto episode 20, The Boy with the Sharingan. Really crazy that we are on episode 20 now. When I actually saw that, when I was watching the episode, I was just like, that is insane. Like, they showed, the number of the episode on Hulu, and I was just like, this is nuts. Like, I cannot believe we're on episode 20 right now. But really good episode. It's probably one of my favorites so far, which, of course it comes from the manga, which was, like, done by the creator of Naruto. So it's like, yeah, it's pretty awesome. A simple episode, it's the official beginning of the journey. I actually really love that episode because I mentioned it several times, but it's been a while since I've read that, side of the manga, because that was like the first thing that came out after the main series ended, leading into like, here's the introduction of, the main three leads of Boruto, which is of course Boruto, Sarada, and Mitsuki. So Sarada had her story come up first. And it was just, it's been such a long time. It was really cool to watch. Like, I really loved watching the beginning of this journey and, having Sarada and Chocho kind of go on this mission. They had, some of my favorite moments that I forgot about, and some stuff was just done even better because it was animated. But Chocho was great in this. Like, that was one of the things I was looking forward to, because she's super funny during this story where it's like, Choji's her dad. You can even see it. Like, there's no mystery there. Even in the manga, there's no real mystery. It's like, obviously that was just her dad, in the silhouette, but she didn't realize that. And I love the way they play around with that idea, and it's taken straight from the manga, but during the end of the episode where she's like, oh man, this initially started on a mission for, us looking for my dad. And Naruto's like, oh, did Choji go somewhere? And then she kind of just leans over to Sakura like, so what's your dad like? And every time that kind of comes up, how she's clearly, Choji's daughter, it kind of, they kind of move right past it, where either she ignores it or they kind of just go to the next sequence, and it's like, it's clear that she doesn't understand it yet. And I just love those moments, because it was like, that's what I loved about her from the manga, where it's like, she really doesn't understand that Choji is definitely her father. Like, when she, meets Naruto, and it's like, wow, seeing him use his abilities and stuff, which is, of course, super freaking awesome, even if it was like, tiny little bit, that was great. And so, like, she puts his hand on her head. It's like, oh, it just doesn't feel the same. And she just does not get it. So I love that. Something that really translates so much better in anime form is the fact that she would get tired. That was the funniest thing in the world to me. I don't know why, but it was just like, it's the chubby ninja girl just trying to keep up with Sakura and Naruto. And she's just like, oh my god, like, I can't do it. And it was just funny to me. I was like, man, it's just so much funnier when you actually see it in, anime form. And she's like breathing super heavy and falling to the ground. And they're fine. They're totally fine. But she's struggling. It was just really funny to me. So I really love Chocho in this. And she still has a huge portion to play, as this sort of story arc continues. But really great start to it. We get to see a little bit more Sasuke. We basically get the end of the last episode as the beginning of this one, and then he shows up at the very end of this episode as well, where he doesn't realize that it's Sarada, which I totally forgot that happened in the manga, because once again, it's been such a long time. I was like, oh yeah, I forgot that's how they officially met, where he just assumed that she was, like the boy, Shin. And I thought that was pretty awesome. And of course, Shin is officially revealed as having the Sharingan, so I thought that was cool. I already knew that, but it was still cool. It was like, okay, it's moving along. So that was pretty cool. Sada actually unlocks her Sharingan in this episode, which I thought was awesome. And as she's running towards her father, it's like, that emotional thing for her, it was less turmoil compared to, all the other characters we see unlock the Sharingan. For her, it was just like, I'm finally going to see my dad. It was just a heightened emotional state. It wasn't emotional trauma. It was just very emotional. So that was pretty awesome. She unlocks the Sharingan. It's the one, we haven't seen this in forever, but it's with like the one symbol. I forgot what those symbols are actually called, because there's a name for those. But she just has like the one symbol. She doesn't even have two yet. So I was like, oh, that's really cool. We haven't seen that in forever. I don't even think, I'm trying to remember, I don't think Sasuke had it in the beginning. I think he started with two, but I could be wrong. It's been forever since I watched the original Naruto. But I was like, man, that's awesome. Like, you never see the characters start off with just, the one symbol. So I thought that was definitely really cool. And of course, if anyone ever has the Sharingan, especially, towards the end of Shippuden, or pretty much the second half of Shippuden, everything was just like a million different flavors of Sharingan. So it was like, you never see the old school stuff anymore, which I still love. I always thought that was actually one of the coolest versions, was just the simple one with the 3 rings in it. Which we do get to see from Sasuke when he's like, I don't need to kind of go full tilt in the beginning of this episode for my fight. So we still get to see that, but it's cool to see like the very beginning of that with Sarada in this episode. So I really enjoyed that. Got to see Naruto do his thing. We actually hear from Kurama, so I thought that was pretty awesome. We get to see You know, like they show his mouth and some of his chest when he's talking and everything. So I was like, that's pretty sweet. We actually get to see him, see them do the cloak and stuff. Very cool design. You know, seeing Naruto use it, you know, with his newer outfit. So that was definitely awesome. Yeah, I've seen it in color because it's in the Boruto movie. It's the same thing. But it's a little bit different because in that he goes like a bit further with his powers, and in this it was just the cloak and like the arms, so he wasn't really like jumping around or anything. So it still looked a bit different. So it was definitely cool seeing him do that, and you know, seeing the symmetry. I'm a sucker for symmetry, so I like the design. But it was definitely awesome. Like they go. Oh, another huge thing that I was super excited for, and I mentioned this. I can't remember if it was the last episode I reviewed or the one before that, but I was like, oh, I finally realized after watching like 3 or 4 episodes that in the ending, Sarada has her original costume from the manga as well as the Boruto movie. And she puts it on in this episode, and I was so happy to see that because I didn't mind the newer version, but I always thought that this version of her costume just looked way cooler. I just thought it fit her character so much better than like the short skirt with the ascot thing. It just didn't, I was just like, I don't know, it just doesn't feel like her type of character. And I know a lot of people had an issue with it in general because it was like hypersexualized for this young character. But they had her switch costumes, so I hope it's permanent. They would need to come up with a really interesting reason to have it be like she switched costumes in this episode and then she switches back. So I'm assuming with her changing costumes, this is going to be her permanent outfit. And I still haven't read the manga. I'm so far behind on the manga. So I don't know if they ever eventually ended up changing that or what the deal was, because like the whole thing is that starts up with the Boruto movie and she's in a totally different costume. So it's like, oh, well, they like changed her costume for the manga and then they changed it back for the anime, because it's like, I think a lot of people had issues with this. So I don't know if they changed it again in the manga back to the original costume or what. But I was super happy to see that. I just like that costume. I think it looks way cooler. It fits her character. You know, it's much more like Sakura's outfit. And I just think that kind of works for her. And it has, you know, obviously she has like, it's technically not, I guess it's a dress. I don't really know exactly what you would call it. But she has that, and then she has like the forearm sleeves and stuff, and the stockings or whatever, you know, for her legs that are like blue. So it's like she has the representation of both Sasuke and Sakura, and like their main colors come together with, you know, their daughter. So there's a lot there. Like it just looked cooler in general as a costume, but it also has that color representation of like this character is this color. Like, you know, Naruto, you know, have like the gold or orange, depending on how you want to look at it, with his hair, and then his outfits, you know, gold and orange, and then the black or blue. He did that, you know, early on, and after that it was all like, you know, black and orange. And then of course Sasuke's thing was always blue, or like some variation. It would be like dark blue now, or, you know, lighter blue, and he had the white. I guess like right after the Team Taka thing, he had like the cloak, which was dark blue, and then he eventually just went to like the full-on white shirt, and then the blue shirt was like, or the blue skirt or whatever it's actually supposed to be called, you know, that was always hanging off of him. And then obviously, you know, Sakura's pink. So, you know, I just love that idea. I'm glad that that original costume for Sarada's character is finally back. I just always thought it looked way cooler. So I'm like, I'm so happy that she put that on. Like as soon as she went to that bag, I was like, man, I hope this is the part. I hope it really happens here. And she puts on like the forearm sleeves, and I was like, finally, it's about to happen. So she switches back to her original costume from the manga and from Boruto the movie, and I was super happy to see that, because I just, like I said, I really like that costume. So I was very happy to see that in this episode. Seeing Naruto going, you know, I technically he did go full Kyuubi, you know, cloak and everything, but it was like he went full cloak, but it was like a fraction of the power because he didn't have to do much. But we still got to see him, so it was still cool. The comedy was good, like I said, with Chocho, and ultimately we do see Sasuke and Sarada finally meet each other after a super long time. Like they have the flashbacks where they show she was old enough to like hug him, so she was like walking and stuff, so she was probably around like 4 or something like that. It seemed like that was kind of the age range. And then he's just been gone on secret missions forever, and she hasn't seen him since, and he didn't even recognize his own daughter. So very excited for the next episode. I am curious how long this is going to be. You know, the way that this story played out is a decent amount of time as far as the manga itself, but of course, you know, you go through an episode and it's like, well, you kind of just shoot through manga. You know, it's like not like one volume, you know, it's like one episode. You have to go through like quite a few chapters, you know, to get through some stuff, you know, for a series. So it's like they can shoot through this if they want to. But I'm curious how long it's going to take, because there is quite a bit of stuff in here. They could kind of pad it out, add some more action to it. I don't think they need to, because the story itself is so good. They don't even need to add action, just because of the fact that it's such a personal story for Sada's character, and especially with it being the anime version for people who may not be reading the manga currently, like myself, or people who just know nothing about it. Like if you never even read the original manga or you never saw Boruto the movie and got to learn about her character at all, this of course is a great start. Like this is that original manga that introduced her character, so it's like they don't need to add anything to it, because I personally thought it was like a great story introducing her character and showing, you know, I mean, that at the time at least, that was the first time we ever saw the characters as adults. So it was like, you know, not counting like the very last chapter of the manga where they do the time skip. So it was like, okay, this is them actually as parents and seeing everyone and, you know, what they're doing like 10 years in the future, that sort of thing. So this being that introduction for a lot of people, I'm sure, who haven't gotten into the manga and they're only doing, you know, only getting the Boruto story through the anime, great start, and I don't think they really need to pad it out, so I doubt we'll see that. Maybe like, you know, some small things here or there just to add like, you know, an extra minute or extra couple of seconds, do some, you know, wide shots or, you know, some random walking shots. Outside of that, I don't think they really need to do any padding for this, because it's already a great story, and especially when it gets to the end, more than enough action. You see some of it for sure in the ending if you know, check it out, and you see some of the little action sequences that they show off. Definitely more than enough action by the time we get to the end of the manga. It gets pretty nuts. So I'm looking forward to that. But ultimately, this is a really good start. Like the last episode was technically the start, but this was like the official beginning of the journey. And it was just really good. And, you know, they have a great scene where Sada's talking to Boruto and it's like, you know, hey, I'll take the lunch, and she's trying to convince him and stuff, and he's just like, I don't understand what's wrong with you right now. And Shikamaru kind of figures it out, like, oh, she knows that he's going to see Sasuke, she hasn't seen her dad, and so, you know, he kind of lets them go on the journey because he knows Naruto is going to be there to help him out. So a really awesome start to their journey. You know, we get to see quite a few of the characters. We learn officially the name of Shin is revealed in this episode, but I'm looking forward to it. I'm definitely excited to see what they may or may not add, you know, to kind of, you know, pad out the story a little bit. Don't know how things are going to play out. I don't know how long this season is officially going to be, because we're hitting that 20 episode mark, and typically that's kind of where things start to kind of trail off. You get maybe like 26. I mean, I'm thinking in terms of like typical American shows, but even for anime that have a bunch of episodes per season at least, 20 episodes is quite a bit, and it makes sense. I mean, it's Boruto coming off of Naruto. It makes sense that they'd be like, whatever, you know, I wouldn't be shocked if this went, you know, the first season was 30 full episodes. It's like, it's coming off of Naruto. It's the continuation of that story. It's already got the fan base, so, you know, I wouldn't be that shocked if it went super far, but I would assume that when they end this will be the end of the season. So, you know, I'm curious how that's going to play out, if they're going to do, I haven't watched Naruto in a super long time because I started to read the manga, so I don't know if Naruto ever actually took breaks. I always felt like Naruto never stopped outside of like when they did, you know, it was like holidays and stuff. It was a lot like the manga. I felt like Naruto was literally every single week. But that was also because I was behind for a long time, and then I stopped watching. So I was like, I don't know if Naruto ever actually wasn't on every single week. So I don't know if that's really the case. And it's just like, all right, Sada chapters ends, and then boom, we're in season 2 already, and that's officially, you know, how it takes place. I assume that's what's going to happen, because that is how Naruto's always been. But they might change that up a bit for Boruto. I highly doubt it, because like I said, it's just a continuation. It's already popular. People are going to watch Boruto every single week. So I'm sure it's just going to be like Naruto was, where it's just like, all right, season end, boom, next episode, surprise, it's season 2. But 20 episodes in, I have to imagine we are very close to season 2. I'm looking forward to it. I'm actually excited to see what the new opening is going to be, because I don't hate the opening song or anything. It's like, all right, it's an okay song. I actually really like the ending. I haven't looked it up yet, but it's like, I like the ending enough that I'm going to look up that full song. Opening, not so much. The original ending, same thing. Like, I like that the least out of like all the openings and endings so far. But looking forward to whenever we get season 2 and what the next opening is going to be. Definitely looking forward to that. But really enjoyed this episode, of course. Would love to know what you guys thought about it, so please comment below. Let me know your favorite parts about it, your least favorite parts about it. For those of you that have read the manga, of course, I would love to know what you guys are looking forward to the most. I think I asked that before, but it's basically like the next couple of episodes. That's all it really is. Like, I don't even know what questions I can ask for manga readers, because it's like we already technically know what's going to happen. So what are you guys looking forward to the most as far as, you know, animated wise? Of course, please put a spoiler tag so people don't know what's going to happen for the story. And for those of you that do not know the story of the manga and you're just kind of going through it, you know, episode by episode, we'd love to know how you guys feel about this journey so far and what you guys are looking forward to seeing. If you have any theories, of course, you know, like I said, if you look at the ending, you can kind of tell where some things are going. You can get certain clues there. Would love to know. what you guys are looking forward to seeing, or what theories you have about what may come next. So please put your comments down in the comment section below. And of course, thanks for watching.